Everybody, I'm Matt Doty, and I'm here to talk about the first couple games or first weekend of college basketball. Now, as you can tell, there's many teams that stood out. Uh, what teams I think stood out the most were the teams part of the Armed Force Classics like Michigan State, Arizona, Kansas, and Indiana. As well, we got to see Lonzo Ball, Frank Jackson, DeAndre Fox, De'Aaron Fox, Blake Monk, and all like the freshmen actually see what they're capable of. I mean, I think I don't know. Like, there's a difference now. Like, people say it was a year of freshmen, which I can see, but with Jason Tatum and Harry Giles not playing in the first two games of Duke basketball, it's hard to tell. Josh Jackson of Kansas, he had an alright game against Indiana, but he didn't really produce. Frank Jackson, you can see he's pretty much getting out there. I think he had like 22 points, I think, for one game and like 15 or so. He's gonna do well. De'Aaron Fox, Blake Monk, Bam Bam, Abido, I don't know how to say it. Pretty much you can see Kentucky's freshmen are producing, but for most teams that are in the top 25, they didn't really face like tough competition in a way. I mean, some of it was good competition, but against that talent, it's not that great. But I mean, we saw UConn go down. Xavier almost lost. They only won by 3. Then you got Maryland that only won by 6. But teams that you can see that they're gonna have like a person to go around is like Purdue with Caleb Swanigan. He is probably going to be the key factor for Purdue as well. Villanova, they're going to produce some good. Actually, they're going to do well this season. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, who else? There's Chris Jenkins. Yeah, they're going to do well there. I think their scoring's really good. I mean, they can shoot on the whenever they get the ball, like as well as I think Josh Hart's gonna be like in the contender, is gonna be a contender for National Player of the Year. He's a great player. I think he's like 6'5". He kind of remind people. Relate him to like Buddy Hill, and pretty much I see it a little bit. But for the most part, I think the teams that showed a lot were Michigan State, Arizona, Kansas, and Indiana, because they're the only teams that actually face like ranked teams. For Michigan State, we saw Miles Bridges producing. We saw what Michigan State can have. I mean, they're kind of really undersized, but still, they came out really well in the first few minutes, but throughout the game, they fluctuated. Arizona, we saw a lot from Raul Akins. What's the guy's name? I think it's like a European guy, as well as I'm trying to think of his name. I just can't remember. But on to the second game for the Armed Force Classics. We saw Kansas versus Indiana, another good game. Top two teams that are probably going to do well during the regular season as well as the tournament. We saw Frank Mason. He's probably going to be the leader. He actually he is probably the leader still. He produced 30 points, which isn't great. I mean, he got a lot of fouls with that. He kept Kansas in the game. As well, we saw Lucas Landon, Carlton Braggs produce like double-digit games. I mean, they're gonna do well. Josh Jackson, he only had I think 7 points. I thought that he's still gonna do well. It's just that first game he faced was a top 25 team, so he's still getting there. The other players had played teams in that way, but Josh Jackson, it's his first time. If he faced like any other team, he would probably do well. I mean, look at any other team like Lonzo Ball, Frank Jackson, or like the Kentucky players. They didn't face really tough competition for the first game, so it was easy. But for Josh Jackson, first game, getting defended by OG Anunoby is kind of like tough. But with that, we also see Indiana. My heart was beating the whole entire game. Oh gosh. We've seen a little bit of the better defense through James Blackman, as well as we saw some really good talent through Curtis Jones and Josh Newark, who's probably going to be the point guard for Indiana. We also saw Thomas Bryant produce good numbers, so as Juwan Morgan and OG. I think Robert Johnson did alright. Could have done better, but first game against a top 3 team. I mean, it's not he has faced tougher competition probably, but still. We saw James Blackman produce 26 points against rough defense from Kansas. I mean, Kansas is one of the best defenses and one of the best teams overall, since they have won 12 consecutive Big 12 titles, so there's that. But for the 4 teams, you see that they are ready for those competitions. For the others, it's kind of hard to say. Connecticut, they're gonna be all right. It's just that they need to step it up. I mean, you gotta win those by a lot, but still, we will see with I think it's a championship classic with Kentucky, Michigan State, Kansas, and Duke. We'll see if there's some good things between the teams. I mean, Michigan State, Miles Bridges is probably going to be in the running for Player of the Year. I mean, gosh, and he's going to be probably a lottery pick, probably the top 5. He's a great player. I hope to see Harry Giles and Jason Tatum play. We'll see what Kentucky freshmen will do. I mean, they could do well, or they may not get to the potential they were, or the hype and potential that preseason put them as. But yeah, then I just want to see more of that. But yeah, the NCAA season has begun, or the college basketball season has begun, and we'll see how it turns out. I mean, Indiana's probably going to be rising through the ranks with that win. I mean, it shows that you don't know who's going to win now. I mean, there's that. Yeah, it should be a good season. I think Indiana will get to the Sweet 16 with that, and Kansas, Michigan State, and Arizona. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, and all that.